You should be more like Mob. Okay, not the rage mode Mob, but the chill Mob. After watching Mob Psycho, Mob instantly became one of my favorite protagonists. What makes his character so interesting is that he's both simple and complex at the same time. Simple because on the surface he's just a pacifistic empath, but complex because he's also one of the most powerful espers in his universe and sometimes snaps, especially when it comes to protecting people he cares about. Mob's character shows traits that we can all learn from and apply to our own lives. Traits that I think if everyone in the world shared, the world would 100% be a better place. In this video, I'm going to explain 2 of the main traits we should strive for in order to be more like Mob. The first trait being empathetic. Mob's empathy is my favorite trait of his because of how impactful it is. Mob changes the hearts of so many people around him, not through violence, but empathy. He proves that his true strength isn't in his psychic powers, it's in his ability to understand and empathize with everyone around him. There's 2 moments in the show that stood out to me the most in terms of Mob showing just how strong his empathy is. The first one being early in season 2 when Reagan accepts the case from clients who want protection while visiting a supposedly haunted location. They make it all the way out to the location just for absolutely nothing to happen. That is until they look at the pictures they took and see there was a ghost. So they beg Reagan and Mob to go back and exorcise it because it creeps them out. When they go back, Mob notices the ghost family this time, but his first impression is that they're not evil spirits. Reagan reminds Mob about the feelings of the clients and how scared they are of the spirits. Just as Mob lifts his hand to exorcise them, the father pleads their case, explaining they're a family and they didn't have much time together before they died. They just want to continue existing peacefully as spirits, and that's all. Mob, being the only one who heard this, tries to explain this to everyone else, but the clients just continue being hostile towards them. So now this leaves Mob in the middle of an empathetic dilemma. Does he leave the family of spirits to live in peace at the expense of the client's feelings, or does he exorcise the family to ease the client's feelings? Mob's hesitation causes Reagan to realize just because him and the clients can't see the spirits doesn't mean they should be treated with any less respect. It's subtle, but this is one of the reasons I love this scene because it shows how Mob's empathetic approach changed the way someone around him thinks. Reagan's entire perspective about not only spirits, but Mob's life has changed after this moment. He realizes just how hard Mob has it trying to please not only humans, but spirits because he lives a life where he sees both as equal. Dimple tries to rile up the father of the family by telling him he can easily fight back and defend his family, but instead the spirit just drops down to his knees and begs to be spared. He says he can never do something so awful, especially in front of his child, and asks if they have to be cast out, just make sure they're sent together. Mob gets stuck and starts questioning what's right and wrong. In the whole show, this is Mob's first real struggle with empathy. Should he be more empathetic for the peaceful family or the group of kids who are terrified by the spirits? This whole situation teaches Mob how important his esper powers are, not because of his strength, but because of how he chooses to use them. The scene also highlights how empathy alone can't solve every situation. You need to be able to make critical decisions if you want to do what's truly right. Before this, every conflict Mob got into was just between him and another person. In the past, Mob was able to use his empathy rather than fighting and sacrifice his own physical and mental for the sake of helping others be better. This situation was different because the sacrifice has to come from either the family or the client's side. In the end, Reagan decided to fake an exorcism so the clients could leave and the family could just stay there. The scene was so important though because it forced Mob to think about how to use his powers alongside his empathy. This scene set the stage for the season 2 finale where Mob is forced to make another tough decision, this time between taking an empathetic approach or straight up fighting Suzuki. The final fight of season 2 between Mob and Suzuki was so good because it was more than just a battle of psychic strength, it was a battle of ideals. These two are complete opposites in every way personality wise, yet they mirror each other in terms of psychic abilities. Mob is a quiet, empathetic pacifist compared to Suzuki, who for lack of a better term is an asshole. He's arrogant, self-centered, and manipulative. Mob approaches this fight the same way he does any other fight, with words first. He tries to explain to Suzuki that he understands what it's like to be insanely strong and that even with their strength they still need other people. He explains that we grow by learning from and being around all the different and unique people we surround ourselves with. Suzuki disagrees, saying he's different because even among people born with psychic powers, he stands out above the rest. He says because he didn't let his bonds with others drag him down, he was able to follow his dreams, and that's what puts him above even Mob. His son tries to tell Mob to just finish him without talking because it's pointless, and Suzuki interrupts and calls him a failure. Mob, being as empathetic as he is, gets heated at this and finally starts fighting with his psychic powers. Obviously, Mob was still holding back because he didn't want to fight, so Suzuki was able to easily counter him. Reagan shows up trying to save Mob, and this goes exactly as you would have expected.
No, wait, let's talk about this! No!
Seeing this finally makes Mob turn up, and he goes 100% because he realizes words alone won't get through to Suzuki. While they're fighting, Mob starts enjoying the fight a little too much and doesn't realize it until he sees his brother. Then it clicks for him why Suzuki and him are so different when they were dealt the same cards in terms of power. Mob explains that it's because Suzuki lacked bonds, so in his world he was the only one that existed. Suzuki put all his belief in his strength alone, which is where all his egocentric traits stem from. Realizing this, Mob just cries and tells him fighting is not really what he wants to do. After they fight a little more, Mob comes to the conclusion he's not strong enough to help Suzuki see a different path in life. Mob says at this point they're both going to lose the fight. Mob will lose his values and Suzuki will lose the physical fight. The fight goes on until Suzuki's power builds up to the point he's about to self-destruct. He tells Mob the only way to stop it is by killing him, but Mob instantly decides to try to contain the explosion even if it costs his own life. Suzuki says somebody as strong as Mob should have been able to handle the situation a lot better, but Mob says he has powers, but they don't fix everything. He says he has a choice, and that's what's most important to him, being able to control his own destiny. Mob repeats Reagan's words to him about being the protagonist of his own life, which he didn't completely understand until the ghost incident. This was the first time he blatantly ignored Reagan's orders to follow his own heart. The fight with Suzuki shows Mob completely understands the extent of his psychic powers and how to use them empathetically. Mob could have easily just killed or beat Suzuki straight up in a fight way earlier, and all of this could have been avoided. Instead, he kept choosing to take an empathetic approach even when it seemed stupid. Ultimately, Mob's empathy did reach Suzuki, and he moved forward a different man, even apologizing to his ex-comrade and son for his past actions. Mob's empathy is contagious, which is why it's a trait I think we should all strive for. Being able to stop and instead of attacking, trying to understand the next person regardless of their actions. Empathy isn't easy, and that's why Mob is so inspiring, because he has the power to get through problems easily, but he still chooses to solve things empathetically. Him being able to make that choice is a product of the second trait I think we should all strive for, which is restraint. Whenever Mob gets into a conflict, violence is always his last resort. One of the most important parts of the show is Mob's rage meter. It's cool because we get a visual representation of his emotional state and the things that trigger him. Restraint is one of Mob's standout traits, and just like empathy, he learns how to use it alongside his powers. Over the course of the show, Mob learned to face and accept his emotions, and it shows when he reaches his 100% mode. Early in the show, when he would reach 100%, he would become a whole different person. He would just fight, completely forgetting about peace as an option, and he would always regret this when he went back to normal. Compared to the end of season 2, Mob was still able to be calm and collected while he was in his 100% mode because he learned restraint. Mob's 100% mode became more about allowing himself to release all his power in alignment with his emotions. He only went 100% versus Suzuki after he hurt Reagan, and even then he stayed conscious and even cried while he was fighting because it's not what he wanted to do. Something that Mob teaches us is that true restraint isn't in bottling up your emotions, because when you bottle them up, at some point they have to come out, and when that time comes, it's impossible to control them. This is when his question mark mode comes out, when his emotions overwhelm him and he completely loses control. This is what Mob is most scared of because it usually just leads to him destroying any and everything around him. It's important to remember that real restraint comes from actually allowing yourself to feel your emotions as they come, accepting them, and letting go. A lot of people mistake restraint for weakness, but it actually takes an insane amount of strength to be able to face your emotions head on rather than ignore them. Of course, there's always going to be situations that trigger you and break your restraint instantly, and that's okay. We're only humans, so there's always a chance to grow and evolve. Ultimately, that's why I think Mob's character is a good guy to follow. The fact that his main traits are already empathy and restraint, and he's still always trying to improve them, makes him hella inspirational. Both empathy and restraint are traits I think we should all have and consistently work on, because a lot of disconnects between people can be solved with them. Empathy helps us understand each other, and restraint helps us not hurt others by lashing out because of our emotions. If you feel like you're not where you want to be in terms of restraint and empathy, then that's good, because you see there's room for improvement, and growth is always the goal. If you made it this far in the video, make sure to leave a like, drop a comment down below. I love you, and I'm out. Peace.